he dropped some bombs in there. Like, I don't know why people think there's going to be cheap hex and cheap pulse anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense. If that
Because
isn't
it
enough
doesn't.
to make you guys FOMO, oh my goodness. Yeah, I've heard a lot of the people's arguments for why Ethereum hex is going to crash and why pulse is going to take forever to go up. And I think those are all paper dragon arguments. There's literally nothing substantiating that. That is not how I see this game theory working out. So
Again, if you understand basic economics, you understand why hex is going to be bought up on both.
especially if you can bring Ethereum hex over to the Pulse network, you can bridge it over and provide liquidity. You don't have to worry about impermanent loss when you've got P hex versus E hex as a liquidity provider. You make interest or you make fees off of that, and it helps us bring our parity to the two chains. You guys have no idea how quick that's going to bring parity to the two hexes. People are going to use that as an arbitrage opportunity to if one is cheaper than the other, it's not going to stay that way for long.
I'm still worried about the impermanent loss with the instant divergence and then it snapping back. I've never lost more money quicker in my life than playing that liquidity game. That's just my 2 cents. I'll be getting the reward token, of course, hoarding that shit like no tomorrow, but I ain't going to play the liquidity game. Anybody else feel otherwise? Go ahead and do it.
We have something that Wales has informed me I'm not allowed to talk about anymore, but there are some other pumpamentals going on here, so I'll shut my mouth before I ruin everything because I'm just so excited to bring it.
Because I'm getting a ton of stupid questions. Nobody actually understands. They're just assuming. Just don't talk about it because nobody knows and nobody tries to educate themselves.
But it's a pumpamental, and that's
you gave them the exact reference and they still are asking dumb questions. Everybody can wait till we can talk about it, assuming it could be discussed with them because it's not going to be for everybody to hear.
The line of thinking I'm going down from here is there's a lot of pumpamentals. Richard Hart dropped some gems. We've got some other legacy financings coming on, and there's going to be a reduction of the hex supply for the pulse swap sacrifice too. So there's a lot going on, guys. There's a lot going on. These guys that think that we're still looking forward to 10-cent hex, I don't see it. I'm just looking at fundamentals.
Yeah, from my perspective, I saw a whole lot in that conversation, and pretty much he gave up a lot of information that a lot of people were kind of lost on. Now we understand exactly what's going to happen when things go live and whatnot, and the way people should take it as is, get your hex now and stop playing games. I mean, there's really no other way to put it.
You want to prepare for the Pulse launch, sacrifice for Pulse swap and hold on to as much hex as you can at the time that the fork happens. That's literally all there is to it. He pretty much dropped the bomb. Like, you guys, if you're not getting in now, be left behind. That's fine, because he truly believes that people are underplaying the success of Pulse. So he goes, I like that. I like that the expectation's low because I think we're going to greatly exceed expectations.
Well, what's funny is that I didn't have really any expectations, when everything was first announced, but this was almost a year ago, right? Now 6-7 months have passed and we're seeing all of the the proliferation of all these Pulse blank named coins, right? Mm-hmm. So if that isn't an indication of what's actually going on, then you're just not paying attention and there's no help.
Great point, Wales. That is a great point. I don't know if anyone remembers me talking about this, but I was a big advocate for, does anyone realize that 99.9% of the liquidity supplied on the PRC20 side is going to get diluted because there's going to be, and I thought it was just going to be a 10,000 to 1 ETH at the time, pairing on the other side, because there has to be, it's based on a ratio, and since the ETH side is being diluted, that fixer bot is going to have 99.9% of the supply of the PRC20s on the other side, which is great because now the liquidity providers cannot exit the game. The liquidity will stay there for people to provide against.
Yep. For everybody, the ratio is not to 10,000; it's to 1.2 million. That's what's making it
2 million.
Yeah. So where's that number coming from?
From the total supply that we have.
That's the testnet version 2 total supply right now, which I don't think that's 100% correct. I think
total supply of what, ETH?
Pulse to ETH. Yeah. Pulse versus.
So that's the ratio between Pulse and ETH.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
There's 1.2 million times more Pulse in the Pulse ecosystem than there is ETH in the ETH ecosystem.
And the bot has to fix that. Basically, it has to fix the ratio on all of the pools.
Yep.
So it's gonna
To
get
line up
all,
with that.
yeah, it's gonna get all the liquidity, and then it's gonna put it into its own pool. And it has to do this. It has to buy off all the supply. No, sorry, let's do it this way. It's buying it all, and then it's pushing pulls into the pool, and then it's gonna make a new one with the same ratios where he's inputting pulls and the token. And then there will be basically 2 pools that have the leftovers, and then the new one, which has also the same ratio.
I'm going to recommend you guys, if you're providing liquidity, you are going to be diluted. If you are currently providing liquidity on Uniswap, perhaps you guys pull your liquidity, moments, if not hours before, if you even know it's coming, maybe days if he gives us enough heads up. So you're best to just be holding the copy at the time of the fork. All the people who don't like Pulse, who got all their free ERC20s copied into PRC20s, they can't just pull their liquidity. So liquidity is going to be available there. And that first trade that happens is going to correct all the ratios for all the liquidity pools because they're all tied together. And it's going to, I think you're going to see prices higher than you expect. I really do.
Really?
So
what's your gut say?
About half a penny for Pulse.
What the? Are you kidding?
Nah.
I'm not kidding you. So what I did is I took
2 zeros and a 5? Really?
So what I did is I took, and it's a little bit off, but I took the current ETH price, or ETH is dumped recently.
Wait. I can retire once Pulse launches?
Yeah, right. If so, it's gonna.
Nah.
People gotta take
that would be like
away.
100x from SEC.
Well, let me explain. Let me
Yeah, let
explain
him
where I
explain.
got my formula from.
I'm sorry.
And then if I'm wrong, I'm okay with being wrong. This is all speculation, guys. This is all speculation. But if we're doing this based upon the ratios, and it's going to be diluted by about a million X, the Ethereum to Pulse dilution, you're looking at taking the current ETH price, divide that by approximately 1 million, and that should be your Pulse price at the instant that the automatic fixer bot makes that first trade and corrects all of the
gonna
ratios
be dumped
on the Pulse
so
swap.
hard. And then
hard.
Yeah, it makes
It's
sense.
not one person will get.
but like the
that
opening price, the opening price, you might be right.
It makes sense.
It's like it was.
That's
you
what
know,
Richard said.
Yep.
That's literally what he said.
Mm-hmm.
No promises. It's speculation. It's not.
Yeah, of
advice.
course.
I'm just some dumbass on the internet, and if you listen to me, then you deserve to get wrecked.
Go back to the interview and listen to what Richard said.
Yep.
Because you're saying exactly what he said. You're just giving numbers now. That's all.
Yep. And that's just based upon the ratios, the current ratios. If there's some kind of variable that I'm missing, I'm more than welcome to hear out your guys' input and fix my worldview. I'm okay with that. Pro tip for those of you who want your PRC20s instead of Pulse from the onset. Richard did say that, now you've got all this extra Pulse that you had, you can buy your PRCs back, but you lose your Pulse. And I think you're going to get a better run up on Pulse than you are any of the PRC20s, other than maybe Hex is the only PRC20 I can see contending with Pulse. So just something to think about, guys. To think about, not financial advice. Don't go buy your golden yachts and don't put down payments on space stations. Okay.